from Caid. Tonight's guests are members of the Chalice of Meridies, Sir Griffin of Swerd and Mistress Stephanie of Nethyrwode. And featuring a live performance by the Bard of Drybergen, Kennari Aldgytha of Ashwood. Me, I'm your announcer, Master Bjorn of the Northern Sea. And here's your host, Master Laertes McBride.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Thank you for joining us today. You know, as we march into the week, where a year ago everything went sideways. That's right. It was a year ago, I believe Wednesday is when the NBA shut down their season for COVID, and everything started to change. So, you know, we'll touch more on that here in a bit. But thank you for joining us this evening and watching along. A couple of things. You know, this past couple of shows, we've been kind of exploring different awards that are unique to different kingdoms. You know, we have a similar unique of the Cordis Award, which was started just a couple of years ago here in Caid. And we talked to Master Avery about the Lions of Anstiora. And then tonight we're going to be speaking about the Chalice of Meridies. So it should be really interesting conversation. One quick thing before I bring Bjorn on, just a reminder that our royal court will be happening the end of this month on Saturday, March 27th at 1 p.m. Details will be in the Kingdom Facebook group page. And with that piece of business out of the way, let's bring Bjorn in right quick. And he's going to be right now. Hey, Bjorn.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. It's good to see you. That never gets old for me.
Me neither, honestly.
So how was your week?
Well, I was very fortunate this last week to make a sojourn out to a certain house and pick up a not inconsiderably sized order of Girl Scout cookies. Once again, thank you to Sam. And they still exist.
No, really? But you did have a bounty of cookies that you picked up. So.
I did. They still are, in point of fact, they are there. And they have not all been eaten yet. I do calculate that when I said they would survive the month, I'm pretty sure they will.
Awesome. That's fantastic. You know, I touched on it right before you came on that it was a year ago this week, things went a little sideways. And 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from tonight, I'll learn to speak, is going to be our 1 year anniversary show. And much like we did for our Yule special, we have a couple of different things planned for it that you got to tune in for 2 weeks just to see what we're going to do to celebrate. Mark, how about Mark 1 year of the show? Yeah, it's been a heck of a year.
Very true.
So
things seem to be looking up this year so far.
And you know, we're hearing good news, and the Kingdom Seneschal has put out there that the officers in his position, and now they're reaching out to the baronial officers about coming up with a plan to reopen as we look ahead to June. So that should be exciting. I'm sure there'll be news coming up. Speaking of news, who do you have for us on the Arts and Science websites this week?
I'm glad you asked. First things first, I would like to say thank you all very much for joining us today on what is both International Women's History Day, or actually Happy International Women's Day, although for me it's always been about history. And then, of course, it is also Women's History Month. So one of the things we'll be talking about today will be involving that. But the very first thing that I wanted to talk about is this has been brought back to light, even though the video itself is a couple of years old, and it is a video about cooking Babylonian recipes. From ancient times. Now, like I said, this video has been around for a while, but it was brought to the fore again by the folks that bring you the West Coast Culinary Symposium and from the Caid Culinary Facebook page. So they just wanted folks to remember that there is cooking that happened quite some time ago. And for all of us cooking nerds or people who like to eat, which is most of us, this is a really neat YouTube video. And Harvard and Yale collaborated to cook a couple different recipes from a cuneiform tablet, which we believe to be some of the oldest recipes extant. So they're 4,000 years old. And this is that living history that many people in the SCA are so very fond of. And we also think that because it was written down and because of the ingredients that they mention on the tablet, that it probably wasn't a commoner's dish. This is probably something that was from something a little more upscale. But nevertheless, if you are so inclined, I think you should probably give the video a try and see if maybe you can think about recreating those dishes yourself. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about is the 3D Media Solutions occasionally comes together with historical houses or historical dwellings and buildings, and they create 3D walkthroughs of famous sites. And the one we have for us tonight is the House of Anne of Cleves. So Anne of Cleves, the fourth wife of Henry VIII, probably the one that lived the longest, I think, I'm pretty sure. And the one who was only queen for about 6 months before they had an annulment, and she was always thought of thereafter as the king's beloved sister. So Anne of Cleves, her house, there is a website that you can go and you can do a complete walkthrough of the home, and you get a chance to see the chambers and the additions that were made, and it is just really very fascinating. There is a lot of detail that went into that piece. So if I know that the very first website was 4,000 years old, and then the house was built, I want to say, in the 1530s. So much closer to us than the Babylonian recipes, but nevertheless, it is a really fascinating walkthrough where you can click and turn. It's kind of almost like Google Maps in that regard. But once again, it is something to take a look at one of the, perhaps we would say, the luckiest of Henry VIII's wives. So I hope you get a chance to enjoy that. I think it is a fascinating find, and we just have to hope that that web organization for 3D continues the process that they've been undergoing of looking at these early buildings and scanning them to where they can be approachable to folks that just can't make it. And honestly, the way things have been for the pandemic, getting a chance to digitally or ethereally walk some of these grounds would be fascinating. So those are the two websites for this week. And I believe you are muted. So for those of you at home, you can
That's a drink for everyone. I was just going to say, for Anna Cleves, it sounds like of all of Henry's wives, she came out ahead. You're welcome.
Or she was not cleaved.
True. Anyway, so who's our first guest tonight? I can't believe people watch this. So who's our first guest for this evening?
Our two guests this evening are members of the Order of the Chalice of Meridies. They are Sir Griffin O'Swerd, who is a knight of the realm and also a member of the Pelican of Meridies, and Mistress Stephanie of Nethyrwode, who will be joining us. Very, very excited to get a chance to talk with them about one of the organizations that is very dear to my heart. So we're excited.
All right, well, let's bring them up. So make Bjorn go away, and let's bring our guests in. And they're unmuted already. So this is fascinating. Look at that. Hello.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hello. So thank you for joining us from Meridies. It's a little bit later than it is out here on the West Coast.
Just a little.
So where in Meridies are you guys at?
We are in Nashville. Are we still muted?
Nope, I hear you.
Okay, awesome.
Which is the barony of Gladenfeld.
Oh, nice. I love Nashville. I was there a couple of years ago. So y'all need to send me some barbecue. Really, what this whole thing's about. Just sending me some barbecue. So have you always been in Meridies, or have you lived in other kingdoms? Or
Nope, we have always been in Meridies.
Born and raised.
Nice. And did y'all meet in the SCA, or how did that happen?
We did. I started in Tuscaloosa, which at that point was the Shire of Misty Mirror, University of Alabama. It's a different group now. And then I was in the Barony of Thor's Mountain, University of Tennessee.
Go Vols!
And then I showed up in Gladenfeld, which is where he was at the time. And things went from there.
Nice.
It became a thing.
So how long collectively? How about collectively? How long have you been in the SCA?
Close to 80 years.
I'm at
Collectively?
32
And I started in 83. Do the math for me.
37, so 69 years.
Wow. That's great.
I had hair back then.
Yeah.
And I didn't have this gray back then. So, as I was talking at the top of the show, we've been talking to different kingdoms about orders and recognitions that are unique and kind of are highlighted within their different areas. So, Bjorn had the idea of speaking with y'all about the Order of the Chalice. That's one of those prestige kind of humility awards and in your kingdom. So you want to just tell us a little bit about what the Order of the Chalice is?
I'll let you start.
Okay. The Order of the Chalice is, as it states in our kingdom law, is an order of humility. There's no premier of the order. There's no real precedence with the order. And it started out, as near as I can tell, I wasn't a member back then, there was a philosophical disagreement between some folks about, how the game ought to be played. And some folks got together and said, we want to try to do something very special and very unique in our kingdom. And so they created this order. To get in, it is done by election, and it has to be a unanimous vote. The tenets of the order are humility, valor, grace, courtesy. And if at any point you don't live up to those standards, you can be asked to leave. Or the whole order can decide that you need to go. And that is unique in Meridies. The other very unique thing is the crown is not involved in the bestowal or the deciding to grant this order. It is all upon the order. And when we decide to induct a new member, we ask the crown for some time in court, and it's always a surprise.
And so far, I think each and every one of us, when we come in, we're kind of flabbergasted and look around at the people that we've always considered to be our heroes and go, oh, holy cow, I have a lot to live up to. And I think universally, each one of us feels like we have a lot to up our game, because we feel like we have a lot to give back to our kingdom and to the SCA as a whole. And it's a huge honor, and it's a very, in some ways, it's a kind of scary one, because it really hits you out of the blue when they look at you and say, we think you're worthy. And it's like, oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, it kind of tags you as that role model or that example for people to look at for the kingdom, right? And it shines that spotlight on you all the time, I would think.
It does.
So about how many people do you have in the order?
I think we're up to 15.
Oh, wow. And it's been around for how long?
1988.
Nice. So 33 years.
Have passed on. Two of our members, I say moved. They didn't really move. Glen Aubin got created, and they lived in Memphis in Gray Nish. So they're over there. So that leaves about 13 or 14 of us still in Kingdom.
Now, like the other orders, do y'all have meetings once a reign, or how do y'all get together to decide you want to put someone else in?
We just go, hey, y'all want to get together? We started trying to get together every coronation. And then COVID happened. So we've met online a couple of times to talk about folks. But it's much more of a, we're going to be at a big Kingdom event. Who all's going to be there? Let's get together if we can and take a few minutes to just talk shop.
And then we try and catch up with each other. The ones who couldn't be at the face-to-face meeting, we try and reach out and make sure, like, this is what we talked about. Do you have any concerns? Do you have anything to add? Stuff like that.
Okay. And like when we were talking to Avery, he was talking about the Lions. One of their privileges is to be able to just enter court without being invited into court. Do y'all have anything similar like that, or you have to get on the docket and everything?
We've done it both ways. Typically, at the end of Meridian courts, the Crown will ask if there's any further business, and most of the time, if we haven't told the Crown something's up, that's when it happens. One of us will stand up and say, "Yes, Your Majesty, we do," and the order goes forward.
But we generally try to have our ducks more in a row. Sometimes Meridian courts tend to run a little bit long because we enjoy a degree of shtick and frivolity in our courts. And by the time we get to the point of, is there any further business, it's usually been a somewhat long court, and we try not to. We don't want to impose on people who are ready to go and get their dinner and have already gone through their cooler of adult beverages.
Well, I would say in Caid, they say that 3 hours is a short drive. I mean, it's a long drive and a short court. So, yeah, we had our share of long courts. But I can definitely understand not wanting to be, hey, we're almost done. Oh, yeah, okay, we got one more thing. And it's usually at this point in the conversation that I turn it over to Bjorn. I know he's itching to visit and has a few questions for you, so I'm going to step out and bring Bjorn in.
Okay.
Once again, thank you both for being with us this evening. For the longest time, it was John and John, Francois and Phelan. That was what it was for quite some time. And then as your order continued to grow, the level of, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think the level of legendary people within the Kingdom of Meridies also continued to grow. You've got some truly phenomenal people there at the society level, at the kingdom level, and beyond. There's no precedence. It's a humility order, but other than continue to strive and be paragons within the kingdom, what other things does the Chalice do within the Kingdom of Meridies to bolster your fellows, to assist the populace, to assist the crown?
So the biggest thing that we do, and it's going on 14, 15 years now, is Meridies has this event called Meridian Grand Tourney every year. And about year one, year two of this tournament, one of our members, he and his lady, decided that it was time to take a more active step in giving back. And so they sponsored a tournament, which is a charity tournament. It's a $20 buy-in, and all of the proceeds, all the money, not the proceeds, all the money donated goes to a women's or children's shelter that is selected by the winner of the tournament. And then they added a fundraiser lunch to go with that. And then in the last probably 3 or 4 years, we started going to a similar rapier event and hosting a similar tournament. So over the 14 years or so, my estimate is that we have raised about $45,000 for various and sundry women's and children's shelters around the country. We've had people show up from Atlantia, from the Mid-Rim, from Callantyre, from Glen Aubin, and from Trimaris to participate in this tourney. It is not uncommon that we have 100, 110 people show up just for this tournament in a day full of tournaments. So we're doing single elim, bring your best, and it is a good time. And we always take a photograph of everybody who participates in the tournament, everybody who helps with the lunch, and we share that out freely to all the participants.
And that it seems to be something that everybody in the kingdom who is a fighter looks forward to. Meridian Challenge of Arms is the rapier version of Meridian Grand Tournament, and they seem to be really enjoying having the opportunity to do this as well. And they've been jumping in wholeheartedly and really enjoying raising funds for that as well. We usually do sponsorships so that anybody who wants to participate, if you don't have the means to kick in the $20, somebody will make sure that you have the opportunity to fight and support the cause as well. It seems to be something that the kingdom as a whole has really rallied behind, and we have all in the order very much taken it to heart, and it means a lot to all of us, because it's a way that I think all of us in one way or another have been able to say, this is a way that each and every one of us can actually be a knight for somebody. We can stand and defend and support and shelter those in need in the truest sense of what we all think a knight in shining armor should be. And we can be the chivalric ideal that we all want to be when we think about the SCA and when we think about what a knight would be. And that just, I think, means something to everybody.
There are usually a lot of tears during that tournament.
Well, I do apologize for putting the long tail on the kite that I was floating about the tournament, but it's just I wanted the folks at home to know that me personally, I admire the Chalice and every single person in it. I'm very fortunate that I know most of you. There's a couple of names that are foreign to me. I guess they showed up after I left, but that's what 20 plus years will do. But paragons of nobility and courtesy, absolutely. And I think that even though it's the modern times, we still have a need. There is still a need within the mundane world, within the populace, to assist those that need help. And that certainly is one of the ways to portray the knightly virtues, is to assist those that are in need. And I think that the charity tournaments and luncheons that you guys do are absolutely fantastic. One other question I have is, so have any other kingdoms ever come and asked for the idea of running a similar luncheon for a similar programs, or for having a similar tournament in their own kingdoms? Or do the folks that are around, Atlanteans, Trimarians, Glenaveners, they just make a beeline for your tournament every year?
I don't think they make a beeline, but we get a pretty good representation, especially from Trimaris and Glen Aubin. The only thing even close to that, I know a couple of kingdoms have charity tournaments, but they've never communicated with us about it. Glen Aubin did come and talk to us at one point about franchising, if you will, the Order of the Chalice into Glen Aubin. But that has yet to come to fruition. But that's it. And, we would support anybody who wants to do that. This is not humble, but I say it humbly. It is the greatest feeling in the world to be able to send that check to a women's shelter, and I put the name of the winner and that person's address, and I give them a little explanation about what we do and what we are. We started sending them copies of the picture last tournament, and I get a letter back, and usually the winner gets a letter back, or I forward them a copy of it, and it breaks my heart, the sheer gratitude that these organizations express when somebody hands them a lump check. The last tournament we did, it was like $4,200, and we have one of our winners picked an organization that went into children's hospitals and built playrooms for little sick kids who probably won't make it. And that was a jubilant moment, getting that response back from them. We've helped agencies in Atlanta and in Louisiana and Mississippi, Tennessee, and it's just fantastic. So if you have the opportunity to try something like that, you should certainly fight in it. If you get a chance to organize something like that, it is worth every bit of effort that you put into it.
And that was one of the things I thought you'd say that, honestly, Griffin, is that it's not about us, it's about them. And for example, here in Caid, we have a group who pattern themselves after the Hospitallers of the Crusades, and the Hospitallers of Caid have a children's tourney every Christmas that they partner, I believe, with Toys for Tots. So it's another one of those things that a lot of folks want to donate toys or time or money or fight in that tournament. So I think that's a similar feeling, but it's another one of those instances where, as you said, Mr. Stephanie, you get to be a knight in shining armor for someone in the mundane space. And I just wanted to thank you both so very much for all that you do, all that the Chalice does, and I have every intention of fighting in that tournament someday. So,
come on.
So I don't move quite. I've never moved that fast, but I certainly will do my darndest. So, thank you so much for letting us know about that. I greatly appreciate it, and I appreciate your time with us this evening.
You were very welcome. It was our pleasure.
All right. Well, now you're stuck with me again. So that's amazing. That just sounds incredible. But, wow. So now to frivolity. So the part where we all enjoy and all the guests dread. We're here for the weekly trivia game. So Bjorn, what is the name of this week's trivia game?
The name of the game for our friends Meridies is "Thy Cup Runneth Over."
Right, so I know. So the Chalice, of course, is a cup, and we do a sport. So I thought it would be fun. I'm going to talk about different cups and different trophies from major sporting events, and you tell me what sport this trophy or cup is for. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a stretch, but come on, I have Chalice. So, so we'll start easy, and you don't need to see me for this part. Well, we'll bring Bjorn in just so he can help out if he needs to. Ooh, we'll do it this way. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we'll do an easy one first. So, Stanley Cup. What sport?
Oh, hockey.
That's correct. See, I told you it was. Get you warmed up. How about the Vince Lombardi Trophy?
That would be the Super Bowl,
which is football, right? Yes, we can. Yeah. Okay. So here's another
sport game.
I know the rules are complicated. Let's see. Here's a tough one. Well, we'll do it. The Claret Jug, which is a jug. That's gold. It's the Gold Champion Trophy for what? Man.
Polo.
Um,
Yes, Bjorn.
Golf.
It is golf. It is the British Open's trophy.
Wow.
Wow, I know. That's why we keep them around.
Excellent golf clap, by the way. Don't think I didn't notice. That's a great golf clap.
Okay, well, okay. The Wimbledon trophy.
Oh, tennis.
Yeah, of course.
What's up?
The Larry O'Brien Championship Trophy. I didn't know it was called this. I just know it by the shape.
It's not for eating wings, is it?
No, that would be nice though. It is a sport. You want to know? That's what they call the NBA Championship Trophy.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
I didn't know that either. Okay, so the things you learn. America's Cup Trophy.
That would be sailing.
Yeah, it's a cup. We're going with a theme. Commissioner's Trophy.
Baseball?
That is baseball. That's the World Series trophy. Okay, another one. The FIFA World Cup Trophy.
Soccer.
That is correct. Oh, okay. So next to last. Y'all are doing great, by the way. We'll do a tough one. The Borg Warner Trophy has nothing to do with Star Trek, by the way, because that was my guess.
Warner Trophy.
I would have never gotten this one either.
Is that one of those European car races?
Oh my gosh, it is the Indianapolis 500 Trophy.
Okay.
Very nice.
Right.
Well done, Griffin.
So, and last but not least, the WWE Championship belt.
Well, that would be your big time professional wrestling right there.
I would like
That is
to comment that
correct.
he did it correctly. Wrestling. He did
Wrestling.
use it.
You know, Hulk Hogan. I think we should have those kind of belts for Queen and King champions in the SCA instead of baldricks.
If
Wrestling
only
style
I had
belt.
known you were going to ask that.
Yes.
So, back a long, long time ago, I had the privilege to serve Their Majesties Baru and Deirdre as their chancellor. And at the end of their reign, they were so tired of me whining about not getting anything in court that they made me their arts and sciences champion for the reign on the day they stepped down. And my regalia is a professional wrestling belt.
Really?
Yes. And it came with our entry-level arts and science award, and which is a Meridian cross. And so in the middle of the belt is this little cross that spins.
Oh, that is awesome.
And it's got big gold G's on it, and it's made with cow print leather. And, I just love that thing. But it's downstairs. If I had known, I could show it to you.
Oh, man. Get my hopes up. That's amazing.
Yeah. I got my Meridian Cross from Baru as well, but it didn't spin. Wow, that's pretty cool.
And when he says it's this little Meridian cross, no, it's the size of this.
It's a full-size wrestling belt.
That spins.
Wow.
Fantastic. When I had the good fortune to be one of the premiers of the Order of Defense out here, and when we were talking about the regalia and the collars and stuff, I had asked Countess Lenora if we could do the little insignia, but have it spin. And let's just say I did not get a good reception on my idea to have a spinner version of the medallion. But she wasn't surprised, I asked. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show this evening. It's fascinating to learn about the award and the order, I should say, and the amazing good work that you do every year to help people out. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for bringing that out and highlighting it to people.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And we hope all of you get the chance, if you come toward Meridies, usually in September, toward the end of September. We have the Meridian Grand Tournament, and then usually in late January, early February, we have the Meridian Challenge of Arms. We'd love to have you. You'll have a good time. And
it's an awesome kingdom effort. It's not just us; it's the whole, and it's a feeling like no other.
Whole day of fighting and pageantry. There's entertainment, food, and usually we're blessed to have a lot of really pretty state parks in the Southeast that are well kept and maintained. So the sites are usually always beautiful, and we'd love to have you. Come on out.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we'll let you get on with your evening. Thank you so much. Have a great night, and hopefully we'll get a chance to cross paths once we're able to get all back together.
Thank you so much for the invitation. We had a great time.
Well, thank you.
Take care of yourself, guys.
Bye-bye. Wow, that's amazing work that they do. I had no idea.
It really is. The Chalice is one of those things that everybody, as a kid growing up in Meridies, and I was there from the time I was like 15 until I moved here. The Chalice was one of those things that when it started, I was 18, and the people that first were part of it, you're like, oh yeah, that is a paragon of chivalry right there. And I see it continues to be so. And the tournament that they started after I left, I really want to get back there and fight in that tournament. That sounds like a lot of fun and a wonderful cause.
Yeah, very cool. So who do we have coming up to perform this evening?
We are very fortunate in that we have with us this evening the Bard of the Barony of Drybergen. So we have the Bard of Drybergen with us, Kennari Aldgytha of Ashwood, who will be performing for us. And just so very, very happy to have her with us this evening.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and bring her in. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Hi, Laertes.
Hi. In case y'all noticing I was kind of distracted there at the end of the interview, is that her signal dropped and we were trying to get it to come back on. So I'm glad it worked out.
I'm not prone to panic.
I'm not either, but I'm like, I feel because I'm like, I'm listening, but I have to do my tech work too. That's why we're hiring. We need an intern. Anyway, hi, welcome back.
It's great to be back.
I know you were here. I looked up back in August talking about the disaster relief coordinator position that you do. And now you're here joining us as the Bard of Drybergen. So, it's a twofer. So we really didn't talk about your bardic performances when you were on last time. So have you always been invested in performing and such, along with all the other duties that you do in the SCA?
Actually, off and on, I've sang throughout the SCA, but I've never really done much bardic performances before. But well, I have some pretty heavy duty enablers in my local barony.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am.
So when you were recognized as Bard of Drybergen, was that pre-COVID, or has that happened since, or when?
That happened actually in October.
Oh, okay.
At our virtual anniversary.
Right. So I'm sure their excellencies are looking forward to an opportunity to have you perform in person for them. So, and that, don't we have a change going on in Drybergen coming up, or no?
That will be in that we just recently have new Reeve and Reeves,
Mm-hmm.
and they will not be stepping up until October.
Oh, well,
at our next anniversary.
Great. So, so do you do pieces that you write yourself, or do you do other pieces? What's kind of your?
I've helped a bunch of people write folk songs and help refine songs. I've never actually really written songs myself prior. Well, this is a partially revised version of a song. But not. This is, like I said, this is very new to me. I've always loved to sing, and I've sang a lot in the SCA, but usually kind of with other people for fun.
Right. Okay. So what piece are you going to perform for us this evening?
Okay, so this is actually a song that I learned, I think I was 8 or 9. And I actually learned this from an old cassette tape that I had that was put together by Adelaide de Beaumont, who currently now resides in Anstiora. And I'll spare you all the pestering I used to do about asking her to sing various songs that I liked. But I did a lot of it. And this was written initially by, I believe, Lady Rosemary. And it's published in the first Caid songbook. But the lyrics, even when I learned them when I was little, were out of date because some of the geographic locations within Caid changed names when Caid became a kingdom. So a friend of mine, another who grew up with me in the SCA, we used to always joke about how we were going to rewrite the song and bring it up to date. And so when I found out I was going to be joining you this evening, I decided to try and do that. So
Awesome. All righty. Well, the floor is yours.
thank you. So, so this is Fairlands of Caid, and for those of you who are familiar with it, some of the verses might not track the way that you're used to because I kind of mixed things up and added a lot of groups that were not in the song prior. So, so when the dawn shall touch the hilltops and the mist lies in the dell, I shall think upon my homeland and the folk I know so well. From the deserts of Stockhafen to the shores of western seas, Calafia to Nordvaka marks the kingdom of Caid. And the people there are gentle, quick to give a courteous word, and the artisans are skillful, and the fighters brave with sword. Down from Miles and from Doric, Carragwen, Leon Demir, come defenders of our coastland, and the folk shall know not fear. Winter mist atop the grapevine from Danor and Al Said, and the Avaheim's frost dragon, strong supporters of Caid. From the mountains of Drybergen, Gildenhold and Angel's lands, and the valley of Altavia, Caid's glory ever stands. When my time on earth is finished, and the final call I heed, where'er my life shall lead me, let me rest in fair Caid. Where'er my life shall lead me, let me rest in fair Caid.
Oh, very nice. That's awesome.
Thank you. It's really weird and hard singing different words to a song you've known for most of your life.
Yeah, and plus singing it to a piece of glass as opposed to people or around the campfire, it adds that certain level of difficulty, I'm sure. That's
I teach mundanely, so actually I'm really used to talking to a screen nowadays. Though I don't sing to my class.
oh, and I think we lost her again. Let's bring Bjorn in and see if she comes back right quick.
Anyone who has a chance to perform.
I think she's back.
Oh, good. Yeah, anyone who has a chance to perform bardically through the web's ethereal, it's an additional challenge, and everyone who does it, we're just so very thankful for them here at our show and for all the other shows that we have on.
Am I here?
On the web? Oh, you're back.
Can you hear it? Yeah, we see you. We can hear you.
I could hear you the whole time.
We were just vamping, so.
That's fine.
But anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight for a second time. So that means you didn't learn the first time.
I'm a slow learner.
Well, thank you so very much for sharing your talents with us this evening. And we really appreciate you stepping in to do so. And just thank you so very much.
Yeah,
well, thanks for having me. And to all those people who were cheerleading me on this week, thank you.
Yes, it was great to see. And it was nice to hear about all those places that hopefully soon enough we'll be able to get out and visit. So brings
I'm
a little
totally down for that.
Brings a little hope to the heart. So thank you so much. It's good to see you, my friend. Have a good rest of your evening.
Great to see you guys, and cannot wait to see you guys in person at some point, hopefully soon.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Good night. Wow, that was fantastic. So
we forget when we're in a kingdom that is as small as we are as far as geography, that there's still a fair number of groups, and it's kind of one of those things to where, you know, the local rock band makes good, and then they come back and it's like, all right, Anaheim, how, you know, whenever you hear your place that you're from, it's like, oh, I have a buddy who lives there or whatever. It's always nice to hear that in a song. For some reason, hearing where you're from in a song is just cool. There's nothing else about it. So
yeah. So let's talk about who we have next week. So for our interview guest next week, we have, I'm going to say her name wrong too, Sir Enogen of Clonmel.
Yep,
did I say? Oh, I got it right. I got it close. She was knighted in Atlantia a week ago, Saturday, I believe it was. And
I mean, the first female to be knighted in the Kingdom of Atlantia, and it's lengthy history. So she's the first one,
and kind of has some social media notoriety associated with it. So she's going to come on the show, talk about the experience of being the first one recognized in Atlantia, and other things that are associated with it. And her background of how she got to where she's at. So it should be a very interesting discussion. And very much looking forward to talking to her and meeting her. Who do we have for the Bardic side of it?
I'm not even going to, the last 2 weeks I said, we're going to have this, and then it didn't happen. And so I'm not going to make any predictions. I'm just going to say there will be a performance next week. That's the best I can do.
And we'll just promise it's not me. So,
I can't promise it won't be me, but it won't. But it won't be you.
Well, anyway, what a great show! I've loved learning about the Chalice of Meridies, and it was great to see Aldgytha sing about our kingdom. So, looking forward to next week too. So, once again, Bjorn, my friend, thank you for joining us this evening. It's good to see you, and thank you for supporting Samantha.
My pleasure, and the people here also are very thankful. Because for much of the week it has been hot tea and cookie dunking weather. So how can you not enjoy that?
Yeah, and rain's coming up. So, all righty. Well, thank you. And thank you everyone else for watching us this evening. And be sure to join us next week when once again we will be live from Caid. We'll see you then.